everything changes.
Hey, what's going on, rock stars? Welcome into the RockstarFlipper YouTube channel. Today is February 3rd, 2019. It's Saturday afternoon. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl Sunday. Who you guys got? Comment it down below. Tell me. I'm interested if I got a lot of Patriots or a lot of Rams fans or a whole lot of people that probably just don't care because your team was bounced. Anybody who knows me, I am from Baltimore originally. I do kind of stick to cheering for the Ravens. I'm not a huge fan of my hometown, but I do like the team, and I think they've done a lot of great things. So unfortunately, they got beat, and that's terrible in the playoffs. But maybe next year. I just want to see what you guys think down below. Anyways, we had a thread today in the Facebook group. A lot of content that I get comes from my Facebook group, Thrifter Reseller World. There's 105,000 members. If you're not a member, there's a link down below. You can join it. It's completely free. Tons of people, tons of great information. Sometimes bad information, but we try to root all that out. And the thread was about fighting returns, whether it's from a bad buyer or fraudulent returns and things of that nature. And there's a lot of opinions on this. And I'm gonna start with a disclaimer that there's never any one right answer on fighting return through eBay. There's a lot of scenarios and a lot of variables and a lot of things that affect your ability to fight it. So let me give you the situation and the case. And then two things. I'm gonna tell you what I think about it and how I would have handled it and why I would have handled it that way. And then I want you guys to comment down below whether you agree with me, disagree with me, you have a whole nother opinion, how you would have handled it, etc. I wanna know what you guys think. And it maybe possibly experiences that you've had with this situation, and then we'll see what most of the people think. Please keep it polite and positive. You don't have to be negative or rude or anything to anyone else just because you might have a different opinion of how it should have been handled. So the seller sold the buyer a $500 wristwatch, and the wristwatch sold was obviously sold to a buyer that is a watch dealer, watch repair guy, watch something. And so the buyer described, or the seller, I'm sorry, described that there was an issue with the watch. I don't recall what it was. Let's just say that it had a cracked glass. And so the buyer was like, hey, that's cool. It's a $1,000 watch. I'm gonna buy it, repair it, and no big deal. Right? Okay, so buyer buys it, pays $500, gets the watch, and says, hey, after careful examination, there's more wrong with this watch than you described. It's not just the glass. And I'm just using the glass as an example because I don't even recall what was wrong with it. There's more wrong with it. The inner workings are bad, the ticker's bad, the hands are bad, the crown is bad, whatever. There was other problems with the watch. And so the seller says, no, it was just cracked, it was just broken. There's nothing else wrong with the watch, but I'm not a watch expert. So there's a couple problems here, a couple things wrong here. Number one is that the buyer is a watch dealer. This guy, he knows what he's doing. And so chances are if something else was wrong with it, he probably is the guy that would know. Now, it's also possible that he's scheming. He's trying for a partial, or he's trying to do a fraudulent return. Maybe he's sending the seller back his bad watch, or maybe he took parts out of this watch and now he's sending it back. There's a multitude of possibilities that could be happening. Maybe the buyer is totally honest and there really was other stuff wrong with it. We don't know. We, as anybody, as outside third party, we don't know. And so that goes for eBay also. They don't know if this guy's lying, took some parts out, or traded his rock, watch, whatever out, or if he's really telling the truth and there was more issues wrong with it. And so we also don't know if the seller's telling the truth. Did the seller know? Did the seller not know? We don't know. And so buyer is gonna open a return, item not as described. And so seller really has no choice here. Seller is going to have to take the return. And so here's what's gonna happen. eBay's gonna make them take the return. And recently, eBay's gotten stricter. You used to be able to kind of fight it and say, hey, look, this wasn't in any worse conditions. Here's some pictures. It was simply cracked. And there's no other issues with the watch. Close the return. And eBay used to, in some cases, in a lot of cases, they would close the return. Now they are going to allow the buyer to return the item. Once the item is returned, now remember your money's gonna be on hold, you're gonna have a return request, and if you fought with the buyer, he's probably gonna leave negative feedback. So you might as well just say, okay, great. Knowing that eBay is going to allow him to return it, just say, go ahead and return the item. Open the return request, label, item comes back. Once the item arrives back and you have an opportunity to inspect it, this is when you can fight it for return not delivered in the same condition as shipped. That's how you have to fight it with eBay now. If you offered free returns, you can try to give the buyer a up to 50% partial refund or no refund at all if you feel that he's trying to pull a scam. But either way, you're gonna have to fight it with eBay after the item comes back. At that point, one of two things can happen. eBay could side with you and deny the return or approve your 50% refund in the event of free refunds or free returns. Or they could deny it and give him the full refund. Now that's gonna really depend on the representative. It's gonna depend on the evidence that you provide. If you can provide photos, you know, in this case, it might be hard. If the watch was sent and the buyer sent it back and there was no crack and then all of a sudden it had a crack and your photos showed no crack and now the photos show crack, you certainly would have a case there and an argument and evidence, even though they could claim shipping and some other stuff. This comes down to really the representative that you get. And even if you are to win this return denial and you don't have to refund them and you keep the money, the buyer is not out completely. He can go to PayPal and file a chargeback either through his credit card company or through a PayPal chargeback. Now, if you've won the case with eBay, that's a big help in fighting the PayPal chargeback, which would be the only reason that the buyer would open a chargeback is if you won the eBay refund. If you didn't have to refund them, they could then open the chargeback, which in this particular case, the buyer mentioned to the seller, hey, I'll just go through my credit card company, I'll open a chargeback against this transaction. So the buyer obviously is savvy. Now, chargebacks are not 100% lost cause because again, if you've won an eBay case, you've got some kind of evidence, you can continue on and potentially win the chargeback. In most cases, you probably will. I see a lot of times that PayPal eats it, they refund the buyer, they let you keep the money, they eat it, and that happens. It's so rare that, it goes all the way through those steps that they are willing to help everybody out and make it a win-win for everyone except them. Kind of a cost of doing business for PayPal and eBay. Now, the other thing that can happen is if you were to for some reason lose the PayPal chargeback, you absolutely could file what's called an IC3.gov website internet crimes report. And so I've done a video on IC3 before, but just to give you a recap, it's IC3.gov. It's a government website ran by the FBI, and it is for internet crimes. Now, word of warning, if you do not have an actual case, if you are lying, if you are trying to pull something, do not file an FBI case. You will go to jail for filing a false report. But if the buyer has truly ripped you off, if you went through the steps, if you lost the case and you feel that you've been scammed, open an IC3.gov website or IC3.gov internet crime report. You will file all the information, the website, the item number. You'll need all the information. You'll fill it all out and you'll submit it. Now, they're not gonna get back to you today or tomorrow or next week or maybe next month. It could be a long time before they get back to you. I've seen it in a couple days. I've seen it in a couple months. But what is important is you will receive a copy of the IC3.gov report, or you can request it. I know it's changed a little bit. They used to auto send it, or they gave you a case number. I believe mine, the last one I had to do was probably almost 2 years ago, was a email. If you don't receive that, just request it and they'll give it to you. You then call eBay and provide that, and at that time, and I've never seen eBay deny this, they will refund you the money to your account for the transaction. So while fraudulent returns can be a pain in the butt, they're very rare. I would say in the last 1,000 transactions, I can't think of one that comes to mind for me. You'd probably have to go back several thousand transactions. It's rare. And if in 1,000 transactions you made $20 profit each and made 20 grand, and all of a sudden a fraudulent return happens, and even in the case that you may lose the fraudulent return, you're gonna be out 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks. Meanwhile, you made a whole bunch of money. So don't be turned off of eBay selling because of possible 1 in 1,000 bad customer. The other thing that I say to everyone, some people are like, oh, don't accept the return, fight, fight, fight. And while yes, you can fight it, you're risking negative. you're risking losing the money and the item if you try to fight back and not take the return. And also, in most cases, I'm telling you right now, in 99% of the cases, eBay is going to allow them to return the item, and then you're gonna fight it out after the item comes back. It used to be the other way around, where you could fight it out before it came back, but now it's more on, and this is more recently, as in like the last couple of months, it's going to allow the buyer to ship the item back. So go with the process, do it correctly, and if it happens and you lose and you're out the money, it's 1 out of 1,000. Move on. It's a cost of doing business. Write it off as a loss, which you can write it off. Talk to a CPA. Again, I'm not a CPA. You can write off fraudulent losses, and like this is technically a theft if you lost. You can write that off of your taxes. Be careful how you do it and ask a CPA how to appropriately do that. But I will give you an example. We had a break-in at a building, at an office that I leased. We lost probably $2,000 or $3,000 in equipment and merchandise, and we were able to write that off. We had a police report, we had a theft, and again, you would need to file an IC3.gov report, and in most cases, you'll win that and get the money back. You won't have to worry about it. But if you, in some cases, don't, then you would have a taxable write-off. So just a couple things to keep in mind with returns. Most returns go smoothly. Most returns are legitimate. Most returns that you get will come back and it'll just be what it is, and you'll just refund and resell it, or it's a mistake that you made on your own. You know, you missed a hole, whatever. It's no big deal. For those of you that say you're just gonna turn on no returns, that doesn't work. If you sell something and a buyer knows the system, or you made a mistake, you will take the return, it will come back, and you having no returns turned on is foolish, because you're just costing yourself sales that you have buyers passing on you because you don't have returns. You're gonna be selling to them, selling to them, and meanwhile the return you're gonna get anyways, whether you have it on or not, so you might as well turn them on. I'm not saying you have to do free returns, but you definitely should have some kind of returns turned on. So that's my advice for you guys today. Enjoy it. We'll have some videos for you tomorrow, and big announcement, make sure you stay tuned. For all of you that are brand new to eBay, brand new to Amazon, either of the platforms, brand new to Poshmark also, or just brand new sellers in general, or you maybe possibly want to get into this. This is going to be mostly for Americans. Overseas, unfortunately, it's different, and I can't offer the same kind of assistance and help that I can to USA sellers, but we have an amazing set of videos, amazing set of everything, step by step, A to Z, from opening an account all the way down to these returns, to the secrets, to the IC3.gov, to transferring money, to taxes, to accounting, top to bottom, step by step by step, hundreds of steps, hundreds of tips and tricks on eBay, on Amazon, on Poshmark. It's all coming. We're going to announce it tomorrow, and I can't wait to have you guys there. It is very limited, so make sure you're subscribed and tuned in, because the amount of people I'm going to be able to help step by step is totally limited. I don't have all the time in the world. I wish I did. But if you're interested in something like that, just stay tuned right here. I'll have a video out tomorrow, and before the Super Bowl, which is 6:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it'll be out in the afternoon before that. I'll see you guys then. Thank you so much as always for watching. Make sure you like the video, and you're subscribed, like I said, and please leave your comments and opinions below. It's very important that I hear from you guys and hear your experiences and what you think. Thanks as always. Good night.